It's gonna have a sandbag in it already, so it's pretty heavy, Mike. The blanket goes on the bottom. Sandbag goes on top, laid flat. Tim will fuck with it if he needs to. Main purpose for this video is just to give you a heads up on how this rack goes together. The pearl, I don't know if you can see it, pearl here is going to pretty much go over the top of the kit, and this top piece is going to actually go off to the right. It's got markings on it for where the other leg goes. That other leg is in this hardware case, which I'll put up in a second. Here's roughly where it is over the over the kick drum rather, just right at the end of the lugs. It's a good starting point for it, and I'll show you how it lines up with the way the hi-hat clamps on over in this area. This other rack comes over here. Top piece comes off. Don't pay any attention to the letters that are in the white P-Touch labeling. That is not accurate at all. So that piece of rack will go back over here. The piece that was on top will go right here in between. And to get the angles, there are arrows on the memory lock and on the clamp to show you where they actually align. I think on all of them, I think I've done it. Yep. Double pedal bar is already set for its length, so just toss it on. Goes like pretty much like any normal double pedal. Okay, next part's kind of an important part is where the hi-hat goes on the rack, and that'll kind of set the whole rack for you. And then everything else is pretty simple. It's all labeled. None of the arms are broken down except for two, and I'll show you which ones those are. This foot and leg comes out of the hardware case. Goes over here. It says Pearl on the top with an arrow. Don't pay any attention to that, but at least you know that it's kind of, I don't know why it says that. It's from something else. But it'll go just like all the other memory locks. The hinges go together on the lock and on the clamp. So this is how they'll all look. Everybody just matches up just like that. That'll get everything pretty much right in place. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the rack. The rack's up. Okay, next is going to be the hi-hat. The important hi-hat piece you're looking for is number 10. It's going to clamp the stand onto the rack, that way it doesn't slide around. And this will all be obviously on the rug that's at work at Henson. I think they're in D, so you know that room very well. So that kind of goes there just to start. I'd throw this guy in next. Just see where we are in terms of proximity to the hi-hat stand. We'll go right into the memory lock, and then we'll kind of just figure out where to put it. So if it needs to go back some, then just kind of make it match up. As long as you have this set right here pretty accurately, everything else should line up pretty good. Just keep that pearl right at the back end of the lugs and centered between the two of them. Otherwise, that's pretty much on the money there for the most part. And we'll just move that to make it comfortable. Okay, this guy gets clamped in. Top of the hi-hat stand goes on. I'm not going to put that on. Everything else is labeled. None of the arms get broken down that hold symbols except number. This one's not. This is number 2 though. It's going to go probably about a 90. It's going to hold his stacker. So and that is a 9 hybrid splash on top of a 16 China. Snare stand kind of sits up a little funky. This hinge out this way faces away from him, so it's going to be kind of like that. And then sits back from the bass drum just a bit so it doesn't, the snare doesn't touch. Just like so. Which will look like it's sticking out quite far from the pedals. Number 5 is the ride cymbal. Again, these don't get broken down on the out either. Everything stays extended and set, with the exception of number 2, which I showed you, and what will be the tambourine arm over there. This is number 7. This goes in the rack post. Number 6. This isn't a 9, it's a 6. Tom arm goes in number 8. This is number 11. They're all marked. This is going to be for the SPD 30 pad. Number 1. This guy here, memory lock's kind of wiggly and such, and it's got a number 9 on it. This memory lock's okay. This bottom one's wiggly. It's just to kind of put the tambourine underneath this crash, roughly. It's for the tambourine, sometimes cowbell. This here is number 4. Everything's labeled just right down here. Clear tape of little black P-touch writing. That's pretty much it for that. There's 2 music stands with contact paper or contact rubber on it, whatever you want to call it. These guys go over here. It says M stand, and then the other one's not labeled. This will go on first. The bottom one will go on first. The one not labeled in M stand. That will go up as high as it can go from underneath. Okay. This is going to be for his computer and his mixer. Okay, electronics are here. This pad will go on the hi-hat, just kind of wherever. Should be about even with the snare drum once the snare drum goes on. The snare drum that you'll use to start is the Steve Ferroni Black Beauty looking thing. It's labeled in its case. So that'll be the first snare that you use. Brass reference will be the backup. They don't tend to switch them out too often. Power for the SPD 30 comes over here. This Behringer mixer power, obviously plug it in, plug it in the wall. Okay, this cable with the 1/8 inch end, that one's going to go into laptop, left and right. And then it'll just, the rest of the extra will get dangled over. That'll go for his laptop, that'll go there. This guy here, I usually put it into pad and not monitor feed because that's what it's set up for. I should have it in the other, but I don't. This is going to go left, right here, and then this is a 1/4 inch stereo. That'll go into the headphone amp out, which is usually an Aviom system over at Henson. Okay, so that's that. Goes here. He just drinks pretty much a ton of water and 1 or 2 rock stars per session, per day. All the PAs on our show know what he drinks, and they'll prep all that stuff. Sometimes they'll ask you for Rockstar, it'll just be in the fridge, in the lounge. I'm not going to pull them out, but I'm going to show you the floor tom legs and how they go in. Okay, they're all labeled out. They're really shittily labeled. I apologize. In fact, I might even label them before I split here. They're labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if the floor tom's upside down and the brackets are up, and the remo's away from you and the bracket's closest to you, it'll go 1, 2, 3 counterclockwise, and then on the 16 it'll go 4, 5, 6, and all the memory locks are set, so that should put you pretty close. Floor tom goes pretty much right here. The bracket for, I don't know if it's 3 or 2, will go ish right here, just about touching, and then it just sprawls out like a normal set of rack toms or floor toms. So that's that for floor toms. There is a bag labeled travel congas, a couple of LP or pearl congas in here. They go on snare stands, which will also be provided. They're the real skinny looking pearl stands. That'll be with the gear. Cymbals are going to be hi-hats, obviously. It's just the arm-ons that are in there. Tambourine here, which is in the percussion bag. 19 projection, a custom here. I believe it's a 10 A custom splash here. The only ride that's in the bag, it's a 22 K custom. Here will be the 19 K custom hybrid. This will be the piggyback, which is a 16 China and a small hybrid splash. I think it's a 9. And then over here is going to be an 18-inch A custom crash. Okay, our fancy SPD30 box. This comes out. It's got no cabling in it. It's just to kind of hold the SPD30. It goes on its little thing here. Okay, power goes in. There's going to be a cable in the electronics bag for the pad. That will come out of the pad and go into trigger 2, or it says externals trigger input snare 2 in here. That'll go in there, and then the 1/4 inches that they'll leave out for you, obviously left, right outputs. So that's pretty much it. Make sure these guys are really tightened down because he's going to have some weight on them. So you're going to need to use a little elbow grease to tighten the little knobs down. I think that's it, bro. Just call me if you have any other questions during setup. Teardown's the same thing, but backwards. So this guy here, number 9, and this guy here, number 2, are the only ones that get folded flat on themselves. Everybody else stays all set up. Nothing breaks down. And that's that. And then however you tear down the rack is fine. I think that's it. Thanks, dude. One last thing. Over here in the computer area, Raul or one of the PAs should have set this up for you, but there'll be a Lightning phone charger, a Apple computer charger, a tin of Zildjian stick wax, a Gibraltar wing key, and a big tube of lotion. That should be just chilling out over here as well. Also, there's a shaker in the little green workout bag that comes over with the stuff from Universal, which I don't know that you'll have when you load in. I'm not quite sure because they're going to be still at center staging. So that stuff will come in. Raul will put that in. But just know when you start that morning, there should be a phone charger, laptop charger, and then those 3 things over here. And that's it.